What's going on, everyone? So a little while ago, I made a video about Victor as well as the boy in white and their connection and how they clearly have this type of bond. They clearly have this type of connection and relationship. Victor, on numerous occasions, relays that he has talked to the boy in white. You know, the boy in white relays to Victor that he needs to stay in the caves or the tunnels to wait for Tabitha to kind of help Tabitha get out. You know, you see Victor kind of being guided by the boy in white at times. And again, there's clearly a connection and relationship there. We'll see what that ultimately becomes. But you also see the boy in white having a connection to Tabitha. And the boy in white clearly is trying to help and guide Tabitha. You even see the boy in white in the real world reach out to Tabitha. And there seems to be this type of connection between the boy in white and Tabitha. And Tabitha is chosen. We find that out from Henry, who is Victor's father, that Miranda, his wife, was also chosen. And that she was one of the chosen. You see all the paintings, all the arts, but all of the chosen ones had failed. And Tabitha is the one that got out. And again, a lot more information that I'm sure we're going to get as this season continues to progress. But the relationship between the boy in white and Tabitha, I do think, is a very interesting and quite fascinating relationship, right? Because the boy in white doesn't show himself to everybody from what we've seen, but has been kind of a helper and a guide on numerous occasions, right? Obviously, again, Victor has a connection and relationship to Ethan, has a connection and relationship to Tabitha, helps Sarah and Boyd, but you're really seeing more than anybody kind of the Tabitha-Ethan relationship to the boy in white. And you find out through Tabitha going and finding Henry and kind of going through the art that it appears that the boy in white and Miranda, Victor's mother, have a relationship and connection as well. You kind of go through all the paintings and you see, you know, the children and then the soldier and then Colony House and all that. And then ultimately Tabitha gets to the boy in white and that painting and then kind of cuts away. Again, I'm sure that episode 3 will kind of pick up where that left off and we'll kind of get some more information and some insight in that regard. There are clearly some similarities between Miranda and Tabitha. So, for example, both are female. Are all the chosen ones female? That could be interesting. We'll see if that kind of becomes a thing. But also, from what we know, both are mothers and both have a son and a daughter. Now, does any of that actually have some real significance? Is that just coincidence or happenstance, right? Both appeared to have seen the boy in white and had some type of connection to the boy in white. But could there be another similarity between Tabitha and Miranda in which the boy in white is potentially Victor's brother? Now, some might say, well, wouldn't Victor remember having a brother? Wouldn't Victor have known of his brother? He didn't even know about his sister Eloise, right? He had to be reminded. He had to remember him having a sister in Eloise. And we still don't know what happened to Eloise, by the way, but save that for another video, right? Tabitha lost a son in Thomas. And I've seen some people throw out, like, what if the boy in white is Thomas? Timeline just doesn't add up. And we know that the boy in white spent time with Victor back when Victor was a kid. So that can't really work. But Victor has had a relationship and a connection with the boy in white since he was a kid. Now, it could just be as straightforward as, like, hey, boy in white is just this entity or being or monster or whatever the boy in white ultimately turns out to be in Fromville, right? And it's just that straightforward, and he just connects to children and mothers and there's some tie in there. Maybe it's just the innocence and the protectiveness of that, right? A mother's guidance, a mother's love, right? So there could be that. Although, again, the boy in white does show himself to others. Again, Sarah being an example. But there's clearly several characters that all have similarities that have a regular connection with the boy in white. Again, Victor, who even as an adult is still very childlike, right? I mean, even Tabitha relays. He's still such a kid because he grew up in Fromville, right? He didn't get the adulthood and the experiences and all that stuff. He raised himself for a long time. So you have that, and then Ethan, who literally is a little kid. And then you also have Tabitha, who again is a mother. And the boy in white is a little boy. It would make sense that there'd be some connections to the mother. But Victor seems to be the one that can speak and actually communicate with the boy in white. Right? Victor talks about how the boy in white talks to him. And there was this period in which Victor kind of didn't see the boy in white in a long time. Why is that? Is it possible that maybe Victor just kind of blocked it out like he did with Eloise? Right? And when Ethan started to see the boy in white, it reminded Victor of the boy in white, but not that it's his brother. That could be something interesting. Again, you got the scene in the trailer, but you got to see at the end, the tail end of episode 2, in which you see Jim pick up the phone and talk to Thomas. Is it really Thomas? Probably not. But I don't think that is just solely a coincidence, right? Now, like I always say with Fromville, you can't really rule anything out. There's so many different directions, so many different possibilities, so many different ideas in which they could go with this. But I think it's safe to say that it's probably not Thomas, but there probably is going to be a significance and tie into that somehow, some way. Now, could it just be as simple as like, hey, this place is trying to break Jim? Right? Jim's starting to have a disconnect from his children. He's kind of vulnerable and weak right now. He thinks he lost his wife. He's trying not to believe it, but he doesn't know that Tabitha is in the real world. He thinks, for as far as he knows, Tabitha's dead, right? So more likely than not, it is probably as simple as that, as just this place is trying to break him down. But again, maybe there's a connection, right? Tabitha picks up the painting of the boy in white. Oh my God. And then you hear Henry relay like, well, then how did you get out? And it was through the boy in white. The boy in white said, I'm sorry, this is the only way, and pushed her out into the real world, or what seems to be the real world. She didn't save the children. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a connection there. There's got to be something. And what if the boy in white, who, by the way, guided Tabitha in the real world to Henry, what if the boy in white was guiding Tabitha to his father? What if the boy in white wanted Tabitha to find his family in order to kind of solve the pieces to the puzzle, and then also get relayed by Henry that, hey, I also had another son? Again, we're not there yet. We don't know what Henry's going to relay. Still a lot of things, a lot of information we can find out. So to think that Henry might not say, like, oh, Tabitha could bring up the sister, right? Because she now knows about the sister because of Victor discovering that, right? Tabitha was there to kind of console Victor during that time. So it's very possible that she relays to Henry, I'm so sorry about your son and your daughter. And he could say, like, well, I had 2 sons. And then you have that, like, revelation moment, or maybe the boy in white, she's like, oh, I've seen this boy. And he's like, that's my son. Like that, like Victor? No, that's my other son that died. And now you have that tie-in and connection to Tabitha. You have that explanation of maybe why the boy in white seems to be so connected to Tabitha as well, right? Why Miranda and Tabitha may even potentially have some type of connection or something along those lines, right? Like, you can see kind of the parallels that could potentially develop through that. Victor also is seen with the boy in white through the trailer at a young age. Him and the boy in white have this relationship. There's a time period where Victor and the boy in white are basically the only things that are there. Why would the boy in white just go and, all of a sudden just start talking and hanging out and playing with Victor and doing all these things? Why would Victor be so willing to approach the boy in white and talk and hang out and do all those things? What if Victor recognizes the boy in white? What if he believes that it's his brother? Or he knows it's his brother? Now you have that easy tie-in to Victor. You have that easy tie-in to Ethan. You have that easy tie-in to Tabitha. Easy tie-in to Miranda. How they all connect and kind of correlate. Like, I don't think it's that far-fetched of a theory. Again, Victor didn't even remember he had a sister. So to think that it's possible he has a brother, right? And what if that brother died before he went to Fromville, just like Tabitha and Jim? What if it's the reason Tabitha's chosen is because of the similarities that she has to Miranda? Both are female, both are mothers, both had a son and a daughter. What if both lost a son prior to Fromville? But the boy in white ended up kind of following them to Fromville. Miranda also seemed to have a different connection than even Tabitha has, and seemed to have a lot of knowledge about that place. What if one of the reasons she went to Fromville was because maybe she thought she could bring back her son, the boy in white? A lot of different ways you could go. But I mean, I could talk about this I can make this probably a 2-hour video of just different ideas that this could branch off. But let's have a conversation down in the comments, and if we can stem into other kind of iterations of this video, and it's something you're interested in, then I'm more than happy to do it, because I do think that this is a very interesting idea and theory. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like this idea? Do you hate this idea? Do you think it's very plausible? Think it can make some sense? Because again, we don't know how long the boy in white's been there. We just know he was there when Victor was young. Could it be because they're related? Just saying. Don't know. But again, how you feel? Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.